style, our fundamentals, being smart players, playing with great effort, really being able to play with physicality and toughness, and finding dependable dudes in terms of scheme. I think we're multiple. I think there's going to be multiplicity in the back end. There's going to have some front variation depending on the down, the situation. Ultimately, scheme for me is finding what fits our players best, right? And we got to do a good job as a coaching staff figuring that out as we go, as we've been through the spring, and we can evaluate, and then as we get into training camp, continuing that evaluation is something that never really stops as we go throughout the season.
You've been working in some of the younger players into the defense. Can you talk about those who made a jump from the start of spring to where you are now?
Yeah, I think all those rookies, all those guys have done a really good job. I've seen growth from all of them. I think the coaches are doing a really good job taking advantage of the time we have with those guys. We get more time with them veteran guys. But I've seen guys learning. I've seen them not making the same mistakes twice. Being able to turn the page and continue our teaching progression where we're not held up on 100 level stuff. We can progress to 200 level, and then at some point start to implement how offenses are trying to attack us. It's more than just our defense, right? It's being able to take the next step and turn our focus, especially come September, to who we're playing against.
Shane, there's been so much talk about what was here before and the aggressiveness of week one defense, and a lot of people have said, well, this defense will be less aggressive. I'm sure as a coordinator, less aggressive is not something that you could have on t-shirts type of thing, right? So is there aggressive but less aggressive but still aggressive? I mean, how do you back?
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between being schematically aggressive and being play style aggressive. Like, the play style ain't going to change. We're going to be physical. We're going to be tough. We got a high standard for that. We turn the tape on. We want teams to see us flying around, hitting people, not turning down contact, being decisive in our decisions, being aggressive with our breaks. I think there's a lot of aggressiveness outside of scheme as it relates to defensive football. And then with the scheme, we'll see. Like, still work in progress. Like, we were a new defense 9 weeks ago. We're the Giants defense now, right? New's over. Like, I told the guys this morning, like, I don't want to hear new no more. It's not new anymore. And we're still figuring it out, and we're learning every single day. And it's been great work this spring, seeing things, but the Giants defense is going to continue to evolve based on our personnel and what our guys do best.
What's it like to inherit? Go ahead if you had a follow-up, Jordan. Did you?
So it's not new anymore. What have you learned about the actual players that you have out there now? Then?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of growth with their understanding of what we're asking them to do. As a coaching staff, coming together, collaborating, figuring out how we want to play things. Like, it's not the Shane Bowen way. Like, there's no egos involved here. We're going to be a very collaborative group as a coaching staff. Hopefully we are that way as a unit, selfless players that put the team first. And I think that's grown as times has went on, and guys get an understanding of my expectation and my standard and what I'm looking for from certain things. They gradually learn, and it gradually increases their ability to go out there and do it, right? And for coaches to teach it. So it's been good this spring. I feel like we've taken some big strides, and I told them this morning, like, 6 weeks from now, we got to come back ready to roll. Like, the clock's ticking. Again, it's not new anymore. It's a Giants defense. We got to be able to take the next step in the teaching progression, take the things from the meetings to the walkthrough to the field, and then ultimately, when we start playing these other opponents, how our scheme and game plan is going to adjust according to personnel.
What's it like? What's it like to inherit a player like Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah, it's great. That's the one thing. Dexter, Bobby, Burns, these guys that have played at a high level in this league, they're not only great players, but they're really great dudes. They're great teammates, and I think there's a correlation. The guys that have success in this league usually are the ones that work the hardest, that want to take every single ounce of coaching that you give them, right? And they go and they apply it. And there's a reason they get to the level they're at because of that. And having those as your leaders, guys that aren't afraid to be vocal also, where it's not just show by example, it's a tremendous asset to me. It's a tremendous asset to our coaching staff and ultimately to the younger guys that we're trying to get ready to go.
What do you make of your cornerback room with Tay and Cor'Dale and kind of where that secondary second corner?
Yeah, I think Rome's done a really good job with them this spring. I think there is some new things for them that have went in that they've been kind of working through and learning, but technique and fundamentals are technique and fundamentals. Like, cover that guy. Okay, how are you going to go about covering that guy? And then there's some things we ask them within the scheme that might be a little different just in terms of vision and eyes and where they're looking. But I think all those guys have progressed. They've challenged. My challenge with that group and really the majority of our group now is consistency. Like, we're looking, when we get back in training camp, I'm looking for those guys that are consistently reliable to go out there and do their job, play with the technique and fundamentals we're asking them to play with, because that's ultimately how they're going to win their one-on-one matchups. And then, bottom line, we need guys to start separating themselves. Like, maybe not the first week in training camp, but as we get going, those first few weeks in training camp, like, we guys start defining roles. And I want to see guys take opportunities, grab them, and start to pull away. Like, it's the NFL. Like, everybody's got to earn it. Go do it.
Have you seen
We'll take two
anyone
more.
on your defense so far? I know it's early, you're not really doing full team practices, but has anyone done that so far on the defensive side?
Yeah, I've seen improvement. I would say not enough. Like, right now this spring, I would say not enough. And again, it's 7-on-7 basically out there, and the rules and everything else that come into play. I think it's going to be more telling come August. But there's a lot of positions within our defense right now where the competition hopefully will continue to drive that. But I want to see guys grab these opportunities and run with them.
Shane, what does Tyler Nubin have to do to get more prominent snaps and try to make it a competition at safety there?
You gotta get better every day, right? Like, my expectation for all the young guys and every single guy that we have in this building, undrafted, second round draft pick, first round draft pick, right? It doesn't matter what you did, it matters what you do when you're here, right? So my expectation for them, be better than you were yesterday. And when the opportunities come, make the plays. And they're gonna earn their role. Like, it ain't on us. We're gonna coach the hell out of them. We're going to give them every opportunity they can imagine. We're going to try to get them in the best spots that fit their skill sets. But when the time comes, they got to make the plays to show that they deserve more.
Thanks, Shane.
Yep. Appreciate y'all.